My name is Mabel Turner, and at the age of 23, I was finally experiencing a taste of freedom in Riverside Grove after a challenging stint in the Army. I had spent more than a few years living in those hectic share houses filled with 20-somethings who had little idea how to cohabitate. I had learned the hard way how to share a space, manage a budget, and take care of myself. After years of living with friends and experiencing the chaos that usually ensued when everyone is still figuring out adulthood, I finally decided to take the plunge and rent a lovely 2-bedroom duplex all to myself. It was a haven that I carefully curated, where I could escape from the hustle and bustle of share house life, full of late-night parties, dirty kitchens, and constant bickering about cleaning duties. I was starting anew, or so I thought. I had 2 jobs to keep everything afloat, and my landlady, a sweet old lady, lived right next door, blissfully unaware of my world. The serenity of my new life was shattered when a few friends decided to visit one weekend and brought with them a guest named Chuck. Chuck was a charming guy who mentioned a girl in his share house named Debbie, who had a reputation for causing drama. He explained how she had been kicked out of several places and finally ended up at his house. Chuck claimed, rather bluntly, she likes sex. While I could not deny that we all did, I had my doubts about the reasons behind her troubles. My gut told me that it had more to do with the dynamics of the house. The boys were frustrated because she refused to sleep with any of them. I believed Debbie deserved a fresh start, so I impulsively invited her to move in with me. The very next morning, before the sun had even fully risen, Debbie showed up at my door, exhausted and hungover. We chatted over coffee, and I laid out my simple rules. Pay the rent, keep the common areas tidy, and no loud antics after 11 at night. Everything seemed to be going well as she settled in, bringing her vibrant energy with her. However, 3 days into her stay, the calm I had been hoping for spiraled into a chaotic mess. Late one night after I returned from work, I fell asleep without a care in the world. But around 2 a.m., I was jolted out of my sleep by thunderous footsteps and laughter echoing through the hallway. It was Debbie and her latest boyfriend making enough noise to wake the dead. Disoriented and annoyed, I stumbled out of bed. Armed with military training, I knew that I had to take decisive action. I filled a bucket with water, a 5-gallon one that I kept in my bathroom for laundry purposes, and crept towards their room. The sounds coming from their direction were unbelievable, like dying animals in a competition for who could make the loudest noise. Taking a deep breath, I swung open the door without hesitation and spotted a scrawny guy fully focused on what he was doing, his back shimmering in the light. I bellowed, "Enough!" with all the authority I could muster, and drenched them both in cold water. There was a moment of shocked silence, a pause where everything hung in the air, and then I stated, "We have neighbors." It felt great to regain control. I swiftly retreated back to my room, locking the door and muffling my laughter, feeling victorious in my unconventional approach to house rules. What followed was pure chaos. A few moments later, Debbie pounded on my door, screaming curses that could make a sailor blush. I had to quietly stifle my laughter as I listened to her rant outside, while her disgraced partner simply slinked away. Eventually, she stomped out of the house with her belongings, leaving a nasty note on the kitchen table. In her scrawl, she accused me of being the most inconsiderate person she had ever met and vowed never to live with someone who thought her actions were acceptable. As I read her scornful message, a wave of satisfaction washed over me. Days later, I heard from friends that Debbie had moved in with her tiny love interest, and apparently they were much quieter now. I had brought a swift end to her disrespectful reign over my peaceful home, and I felt a satisfaction that I had not known before. With Debbie out of my life, I reclaimed my space. I turned my duplex into a sanctuary, celebrating my well-deserved victory with the knowledge that I would never again feel the need to tolerate anyone who disrupted my peace. I learned that sometimes a simple act of boldness could liberate not just yourself, but could also let others know that they had crossed the line. I moved on, finally free to fill my home with calm, laughter, and friendships built on mutual respect. And every now and then, I chuckle at how quickly one cold bucket of water had changed everything. My life in Riverside Grove was truly mine once more, and I was living it boldly and without regrets.